What's going on, YouTubers? Kind of a different thing. It's not gonna be a watch, or it's not gonna be a gun or a knife. Obviously, it's my watch. So I bought the Arnie reissue, and I really like it. There's just a couple things to note about the Patty version, the Pepsi dial. You'll see this reviewed on a couple of channels, and they're good reviews. So I'm not going to go through any of the functions. I just kind of wanted to highlight a few things. Two things on the dial real quick. The hands. That red minute hand that looks like high contrast red here, in less than perfect light, you can't see that minute hand. Of course, you can still use the pipper, but if they would have just used the same kind of chrome hands they did on the hour and minute hand, it wouldn't even be an issue. But for all intents and purposes, it's invisible in, like I said, less than perfect light. The other thing is, so this is the dual lume face, and that's why I bought it. I would have preferred a cleaner dial. I'm not a huge fan of the Patty script and all that, but I thought that dual lume, wow, that's great. But unfortunately, it does definitely look green and blue when you first charge it, but like at 3 in the morning, it all looks green. It's really hard to, there's very little differentiation of that. So those are the two detractors of it right there that I bought it specifically for those two reasons. I thought the red hand would pop against that black dial, and the contrast in the hands, but functionally it doesn't work that way. The other thing I've noticed, just not really in criticism, but just more, I guess, observations. These pusher protectors here, I don't use them. You can see I just leave it. They're screwed in all the time, because if you're trying to use this watch day to day, and you have to keep unscrewing these to use the light or look at the date or set in a different function, the stopwatch or whatever, those are just a pain in the butt to work. So I just leave them like that, and it doesn't hurt the water resistance. It just you can't push the buttons underwater, and that's what that's really designed to do, is to prevent that from happening. But in the rare occasions where I know I'm going to go swimming with this, or expose it to a lot of water, where then I might press the buttons, then sure, I'll screw those down. But for the most part, they're going to stay that way. The other thing is the alarm on this. In the reviews, it seems pretty loud, and it seems like it would get your attention. But functionally, I've set this 2 or 3 times, and once I was perfectly awake, and I was using it as a reminder in the evening. I was at a store, or walking into a store. I can't remember. It was just background noise, and I barely heard it, to the point where I looked down, but it wasn't like catching my attention. I just thought, what is that really faint noise? And I remembered I'd set that, and it got my attention. But the other 2 times that I set to wake me up, I slept right through it. My phone, I set my phone as a backup just in case, and glad I did, because I slept right through it. And I asked my wife if she heard the watch go off, and she said she barely heard it, and she wasn't sure where it was coming from. So I don't know if you absolutely positively had to catch a flight, or or you're had to use this to wake up to go to work, if you're traveling or whatever. I would definitely have some kind of backup plan for waking you up. As far as that goes, though, I do like the, I have a lot of digital, or have had a lot of digital watches, and I never use the hourly notification, the chime. I really like it on this one for some reason. I use it mostly for travel on this. In fact, that's where I'm filming this now. I'm on travel, and I've had this for 2 weeks, and it's not left my wrist. And I've gone, it's been a lot of ups and downs. I like it, and then I didn't like it, and then I liked it, and I'm back to liking it again. And I think I've figured out what its limitations are, and I'm willing to live with those, so I do like it. But the hourly chime is definitely something else. I do wish, as far as, we're talking about the alarm, I wish that instead of unscrewing the crown, that you could just set the alarm through the pusher buttons, because you have to take the watch off to set the alarm. I mean, I've not figured out a real comfortable way of unscrewing that crown while it was on my wrist and adjust that alarm. So it'd be the one function I'm like, man, that'd be great if you could just hold down a button in the alarm mode, and then you set the hour and the minutes, how you normally would when you set the time on a digital watch. So, it's neat to scroll through it with the crown, and I do like that they synchronize the analog hands with the digital face. But boy, I just it's fiddly to use it. So I don't find myself setting the alarm for things that I would like to, as far as using it as a reminder or whatever. If not that, then the stopwatch function, I wish it was a countdown function or whatever, so that way you can set the time, and then it would just count down. You know how you can start and stop the stopwatch like that. It would be nice if you can set like an interval with the crown, 15-20 minutes, what, half hour, whatever it is, and then you use that as your reminder instead of trying to set the alarm, because I just don't think it's a very functional alarm. I guess while we're on a wish list here, the only other thing I wish, and I understand this is an homage, that window is really tiny and that script is really tiny. I do wish that if they're going to cut that window out anyway, I wish they would have just taken the other upper half of this watch and just made it an entire digital array there. And that way, it'd have been more functional, I guess, more readable, just that kind of thing. But it's not bad in any way. And again, I understand they're trying to be true to the original by adding a few, made it bigger and added these these pusher protectors. So, but they wanted to stay original or true to the original. So I do appreciate why they did that. And then the two things that I really have just come to discover that I like about it. One was that chime. The other thing is I thought that plastic was just so cheap when I first got it. I was like, my God, that just looks so cheap. I'll tell you what, this plastic is stout and it is scratch resistant. And I've already hit it pretty hard. I thought, oh, here we go, a bunch of scratches on that. But it's I think the material choice there, at first I was not loving it, but I'll tell you that I think it's not a bad choice. I really like it now, and it probably would have just made the watch real heavy. I've got a Kinetic Tuna, and that's a heavy watch, and I wear it on strap because on the bracelet it's just really heavy. I love that watch though. I love it, and I really wanted this to be a more, I guess, feature-rich version of that, and it really hasn't turned out to be that way. But it fills a role that I can see myself using. I travel, and this is definitely one that will come with me traveling, and especially if I go overseas, to Japan or whatever, that having that dual time zone and having it real easy to adjust that and all synchronized up, it's really great. So this is definitely going to be one of, if I go on the road trip, whatever, this is the watch that's going with me. Just because even though the alarm's a little bit weak, it's there. Even though the stopwatch is of limited value, it's there. And if I really need to have that contrast in the hands, I could charge it up with a flashlight and use it in the immediate kind of the use case where I need the contrast between the hands. It's there. And the Kinetic Tuna is just a watch. I'm not saying it's a bad watch, but this one is a little bit more in terms of those kind of features that I could see myself using, like on a road trip or whatever, or on a business trip like this one. So anyway, I hope you liked that. I hope it was informative. But again, if you're getting it for that lume, which is why I decided to buy this one and not wait for the black one, that is a little bit of a disappointment. If you're thinking like at 3 in the morning, you look, kind of bleary-eyed, look at that and be instantly you'd instantly be able to recognize that is a green hand versus blue. It's just not that way. So anyway, hope you liked it. Bye.